Hello everyone, Gen X Fusion here, bringing you another video of Animal Crossing. Some gameplay and some commentary for Animal Crossing. As you can see, it's 7:33 p.m. where I'm at, and it's Thursday, June 18th, so you know exactly when I'm recording this video. I'm so happy to have you with me, and I'm so glad that you're able to join me. Have a I'm hoping I have some really good gameplay and some good commentary for you this evening, because it is 7:34 p.m. now. And so with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to briefly, there's a few things that I want to accomplish in this gameplay. So without further ado, I'm going to start moving now. And let me check the mail here. And I'll be able to share with you what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. Let's check the mail first, right? Let's see. So Nook Shopping, denim painter pads. I already have those, but that's okay. I'll either sell them or do something with them. So what's going on is that I wanted to, number one, I wanted to go ahead and show you some of the things, some of the changes, and some of the revisions that have occurred since my last video. So let's go ahead and take a quick peek over here. I'll check the rest of the mail later on. If you'll notice here, the bamboo trees. I now have three fully grown bamboo trees planted here, whereas before I had one, and I think I had planted a second. So now I got three fully grown trees over here, and then I have two more fully grown trees here. And I'm going to grab that weed there, and I'm going to go ahead and show you other things. So yeah, these are new. And then back in here inside my house, there's been a few minor revisions in my house, and I'm totally glad to be able to show you what some of those revisions are. You know what, I don't know if I had this couch set up at the time. It's been a little while. I think it's like Memorial Day, or the day, yeah, it was Memorial Day. It was the evening of Memorial Day when I last did my video. So I am not sure if this was here. I'm thinking it was, but I know this area here has undergone some changes, and this is my kitchen. If you take a look, my kitchen is more fully loaded, as you can see. I've got a refrigerator right here. Of course, I got my little radio and everything playing my music, and I have this gas stove, and on top of it I've got my great espresso machine, my stovetop espresso machine, or espresso maker. I got this really cool open range gas range sink with a stove, and then I remember this was already here, but it was actually on this side by my mixer, my espresso machine maker. And then right here, yes sir, I got myself another sink to be able to wash things. And then I moved my toaster and my serving tray, my mobile serving tray, over here. So those are the changes that I've made to my kitchen. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you my bedroom. Unfortunately, I haven't even paid off my house yet. I'm still working on that. I still owe about 300,000 bells, and I got to definitely work on paying that off. But onward to the bedroom. Now there's been some changes to my bedroom. This couch right here used to be in my living room, so I moved it in here. And what I've done is I added a double bed, this rattan, I guess it is, a rattan style bed. And I have this right here, it's a vanity, a rattan style vanity. And I think what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going with a rattan style. I think I'm going to decorate the walls with like some bamboo type wallpaper and kind of give it kind of an Asian look, or not an Asian look, but an island look, because I am Filipino after all. And one other change is that my TV, my wall mounted television, is now right there at the entrance. Before, it used to be mounted on this side, right over here. So those are some minor changes to my bedroom. And the hamster cage, as always, is right here on the floor. And I think this clock is also new. I purchased this clock not that long ago. I don't believe it was part of my other video. And this jukebox. is also new. So I got a nice little jukebox in the room. So with that, let's go ahead, let's move out of here and let's head outside and let me show you some of the other things, some of the other changes that have occurred on my island. Now, my island is very modest when I make comparisons to like some of my friends. I mean, some of my friends like Gretel, her island is so decked out with so much decorations. I mean, easily she's got like a 5-star rating. And then there's Lupe's island that I went to, and hers is just a beautiful, well thought out island where she put her heart into it. And I thought, man, I just admire how she organized her island and just put everything in place. It was just well thought out. And then I also visited another person's island. That's Mike's island, and his island was like really cool too. I mean, it was very trendy, and yet at the same time, it had some really good stuff. The interior of his house and his island was just really nice. I visited a total of 4 islands, but I'll share about the last island that I visited in a moment. So as you can see, this is my flower garden, and I organized it a little bit. And check this out. The lilies, they're reproducing and multiplying. Remember I told you in my last video that I was trying to get this lily to grow some more and reproduce? Well, it is finally doing it. This is awesome. So let me go ahead and just water these. Now, I don't know if I'm going to get any other color lilies, but I think it's awesome that this is finally growing. So I organized it where the lilies would be here. I got a few tulips here, and then these are where the roses are organized. And then down here I have some more roses. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to replant them somewhere else at some point so that I can continue to grow them. I want to see if I can get some dark colored roses. Oh, I would love to get a blue colored flower in some way. In fact, there is one flower that I have that came out and it was blue. And I thought, man, that's awesome. But moving right along, this fence is still the same. This is a bell tree. I think this is new because I don't think this was here in the last video. This exercise bike is also new. It wasn't here during the last video. And let me get out of the way. There's a mosquito flying around there. I don't want to get bit. Definitely don't want to get bit by mosquitoes. I am not wearing repellent. These are like my little garden lamps, or, you know, I just put them on the road. They're like little road lamps. I think those were in my last video. Oh, looks like someone wants to talk to me. Looks like Frank. I think I had someone ask you, are you listening to me? Uh-oh, time for reactions. Oh, I'm going to learn a new reaction. How nice. That's when you do this sort of thing. Oh yeah, you say, absolutely. Didn't that look like I was listening? You can pretend to look interested just by bobbing your head up and down. Agreement can save your butt. All right. I learned the agreement reaction. Yep, that's right. Nice. So now I know how to do the agreement reaction. So moving right along. Thank you, Frank. Let's go on down here. And the next place is actually Frank's home. Now, in my last video, all I had was a hedge and a barbecue pit. So what I did was I changed it up and I put a table out here with these benches with the barbecue. I got my punch dispenser or water cooler dispenser, and check this out. A very stylish rice cooker. I love it. So that's some improvements that was made to Frank's place. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at some other places that have changed. Oh, check this out. See, another flower. Now, I don't even know what these flowers are called, but that's my second blue flower that's starting to bloom. And then right over here is my first one. I gotta transplant these and put them someplace. They totally match my outfit. I'm so excited about that, about them being blue, because blue's my favorite color other than silver and black. There goes Gwen walking around over there. So moving on, one of the things that I did do right here is that I had some signs here that said hello and free fruit. Well, I lifted the fruit. I don't think that people that are visiting my island need fruit anymore. And if they do, they can always pick them off my trees, or I'll take them off the trees and give it to them. So I took those signs down as a result. And then moving right along over here, this right here is a money tree. Just planted this the other day. So it's going to, not a money tree, it's a bell tree, you know, the currency of Animal Crossing. So that'll be growing pretty soon. There's something special about this one though. I'll disclose it later on in another video. This right here, I created for Coach. And yes, you got it, it's a basketball court. So I put the basketball right over here so we can dribble. It's too bad I don't have the ability to shoot though. No ability to shoot. But if people want to spectate, they can sit down over here on the public benches and spectate. And then right over here is a football. I have to figure out what I'm going to do with that football. But this is specifically for Coach's style because Coach loves to exercise and he's definitely into sports. So I wanted to make sure he had a nice special spot. Now, the next spot that I wanted to show you is right up over here. Crossing the little bridge, passing by the Able sisters' home. This area right here. Look, another bell tree. I got quite a few of these things growing. But I turned this area, if you remember my last video, this area only had a few things. So what I did was I extended the hedge and I turned it into kind of like an arts and crafts kind of study environment where people can sit down and just do arts and crafts and, you know, study and enjoy nature and have it be tranquil, you know. But then at the same time, I added these monkey bars. I know, that's all we need is a bunch of people jumping on the monkey bars, making noise while people are trying to find a tranquil moment, you know. But yeah, I put these monkey bars here, and then this sandbox I also added to it. I initially had the sandbox right over here on the beach line, but I thought, let's not do that. Let's just keep it over here. So I added the sandbox. And then there is one other thing. Let me pick up those weeds. One other thing that I wanted to show you. And that's right over here, right past Phil's house. Look at all these bell trees. I got a bell tree here, a bell tree here. These trees right here, I transplanted them. They were actually planted in other areas, and then after they grew, I just took them out and moved them over here, and I built a fence around it so that no one could shake them and knock them down or whatever. But I got quite a few bell trees, if you'll notice, over here. So with that, traveling back up here, go up the ramp here, and then I go up the ramp up here past the campsite and the picnic area. And here is my shrine. And I just added some cushions so that we could sit down and just enjoy the time at the shrine. If you want to make conversation, you can sit down and face each other and talk to each other. So, and I put some music over here. I put a bamboo speaker so that you could listen to music while you're having conversation with each other. And then right over here at the Stonehenge, I put another game board piece here. And there's a reason why, which leads me up to my next portion of this gameplay. I realized that almost everything that I put on here, campsites, this Stonehenge with the game next to it, the campground, you know, the lake, all these different areas, even the basketball court and the football to some degree, all these things that I was putting in to decorate my island were actually subconsciously done because they were related to some sort of specific event or things that I remember when I was younger. And so because of that, I got inspired and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? You know, instead of just continuing to do, you know, gameplay, I wanted to also share some stories about what some of these things mean to me in terms of memories. And so I thought, well, where should I start off? I mean, there's a lot of places that I can start off at, you know. So I thought, let me start off at one of the most earliest things that I started to create when I started redecorating my island. And that's basically the lake. I created this lake some time back when I started redoing the landscape. And then in redoing the landscape with this lake, ooh, check it out. I'm going to have to plant another money tree right here, a bell tree. Can you believe it? Well, let me go ahead and do this real quick. 1,000 bells. Okay. Okay, let's see. Bury in the hole. There we go. Perfect. You know, and then let me get this. I know this is a fossil, so let's go ahead and grab it. Whoops. I missed. Let's try that again. Good job. There we go. That's me trying to walk and chew gum at the same time. Just doesn't work well. So anyways, this lake and this picnic area brings back some very, very specific memories of me growing up. And growing up, one of the places that we used to have family gatherings at and do picnics at was a lake. And the lake that we went to was a place called Lake Chabot. So anyone of you who is from the Bay Area, you'll know where Lake Chabot is located. But for those of you who don't, Lake Chabot, it's just your typical public lake with a park and everything, and a picnic area that is located, you know, between, I guess you could say, the cities of San Leandro, Hayward, and Castro Valley. You know, and it's a little lake that's located in the upper hills, that's nestled in those hills between San Leandro, Hayward, and Castro Valley. You know, but this lake has some special memories for me when I was growing up. One of the things that me and my cousins and my younger brother, our families used to spend a lot of time together. And in doing that, we used to have these picnics. And one of the picnics that we did, and I don't want to tell my cousin's name because I didn't get permission from everybody to use their real names. So I've got to use, like, I guess you can say, the nicknames. The nicknames that I'm going to use are, for my male cousin, I'm just going to call him Yuyi. It's an inside joke from my cousin. He'll probably, cousin, if you hear this, you know, you're going to crack up on it. But my cousin Yuyi was the older cousin. He had an older sister, and I think I'm just going to call her. I hope she doesn't kill me. Oh, it looks like someone wants to talk to me. Hang on. Let's see what they want. Hi, Bangle. I want you to have my oversized shawl overshirt. Really? Okay. Well, that's nice. I don't need it anymore, and I just chuck it. Well, thanks a lot. Okay, well, we know Bangle doesn't like to recycle, so she just gives us hand-me-downs. Thank you very much. But she considers me a bestie, so I may as well be the recycling buddy that I am. Anyways, moving right along. Getting back to my story. So, I had my cousin, Yuyi, and he had an older sister, and I'm just going to call her, and I hope she doesn't kill me, I'm just going to call her Aquanet. I'm not going to tell you why, I'm just going to call her Aquanet. And then there was my younger brother, and I'm just going to call him Ice Baby. These are all inside joke nicknames, okay? That's why. So what we used to do is that when we were kids, younger, like probably I was roughly in somewhere between the grades of 5th and 7th grade, we used to go out to Lake Chabot with our families, and we'd have these picnics. And what we used to do is we used to love going exploring. And so Lake Chabot had, you know, your usual walkway paths that were cemented. And then it also had other paths. It had these areas where they were dirt. And then there was what they call the less trodden or the less explored area where there were no paths, and it was basically woods, and it was just basically woods. And so one of the things that we like to do is that we loved going exploring in the woods. And my cousin, especially my cousin Yuyi, he was one of the types of people who just knew a lot about nature. One of the things that we would do is we would go and explore in areas where there was a large quantity of poison oak and poison ivy. And so him along with his sister, knew how to identify poison oak and poison ivy. And so what they did was they used to help us to identify it. And so we would go and explore the woods. And, you know, as we're exploring, we would be on the lookout for stuff like poison oak and poison ivy. And we used to just love exploring. We would explore like the deepest recesses of the woods, you know, where sometimes where the sun really didn't break through and it would be super dark. And it was just one of those fun times that we used to love exploring. I remember one time we wanted to try and get our bearings to see where we were located in terms of our location and with the lake. And so we decided like we would climb up a tree to see if we can kind of get like a bird's eye view of where we were in conjunction with Lake Chabot. And it was because it was a very big park. It was in the hills, and so the wilderness area or the woods area was always in the hills. And so I always take a look at my cousins and ourselves in this kind of fashion. When it came to climbing trees, my cousin Yuyi would climb to the very, very top. He would climb as high as he could up a tree just so that he could get a bird's eye perspective on where we were. He was very adventurous, and he was also very daring when it came to that kind of stuff. And it's one of the things that I really admired about him. He could climb a tree like it was nobody's business. He was just that good at it. Me, on the other hand, he would climb to the top, and then I would be the one that would climb like the second highest. I would probably get about 3/4 of the way up to the top of the tree, and then I'm kind of scared of heights, so I wouldn't get any higher than maybe 75% percent up the tree. And so I would get scared because I would be like, oh, this is really, really high. Then there's my cousin, my other cousin, Aquanet. She would only go about maybe close to halfway, between 1/4 of the way and halfway. And she would always be the voice of reason behind us because she was the oldest. And she would always tell, you know, my male cousin, you need to be careful. Don't climb so high. Be careful. You're going to fall and break your neck. So it was like one of those things. And then my younger brother, who was the youngest out of all of us, he would only climb about maybe just under 25% of the way. So you had all of us like in different segments of the tree, you know, just kind of hanging out, trying to figure things out, see if we could get a bird's eye perspective and different things, you know. And that's what we used to do. You know, after climbing the tree, we'd then go back and we climb back down, and we know where we gain our bearings, and then we'd head on out, and we would come across different things like streams where trees have fallen over, and then it goes over like a running stream or a small like brook, you know, where the water wasn't really deep, but it was long enough, it spanned far enough that you were going to get wet if you tried to cross it. And so the only way to cross it without getting wet is to go across these trees that were fallen down, and they would fall over, and it would create like an artificial bridge. And so my cousin, my male cousin, would always be the one to test it, to make sure that it was secure enough. And he used to do things like jump on it to make sure that it wouldn't break and all. And then I would cross second, and then my other cousin, his older sister, my cousin's older sister, and my younger brother would be like the last ones. They would always be the ones that would like go carefully and say, hey, you guys got to be careful. I think the reason why I share that is that those were some really, really great memories of what we used to do together. The four of us were so closely knit together, and we were so close that it gave us, I think, a lot more memories. It gave me a lot of memories, and it really developed our relationship with each other in terms of the things that we did. We, to this day, my cousins, my two cousins and my younger brother, we all have that special connection with each other as a result of what we did when we were younger and exploring Lake Chabot. Look at this. Teach me how to do firewood. Okay, well, we could do that, but I have a feeling I don't have enough room in my pockets. I need to go sell some stuff real quick. So that's one story about my time at Lake Chabot, and I got one more story that I want to share with you all. first, let me go ahead and sell this stuff real quick, because I want to make sure that I got enough room, because, hey, I get to craft something. Firewood. Ooh, firewood. Is that a rattan style garbage can? Huh, maybe it is. Maybe I'll buy it at the end of this video, of course. Let's sell. Exactly what you are offering. Well, I'm offering this. I already know this. What, the trophy case? I already learned that? I don't think I learned that. Let's get rid of these things. We're selling all those. How much money do I get? Or how many bells, baby? 2,000. That's not bad. You know what? I also need to find out what the value of turnips are today, because I invested in turnips. Turnip prices. 129. Okay, I think it's time to sell. So let's go ahead and sell the turnips. I am not a very good investor. I'm like, as long as it's worth more than what I paid for, I'm gonna go ahead and jump on it. I have friends who like totally know how to run the turnip market, you know, and I'm nowhere near as good as them. But 25,000 bells is a big thing for me, so I'm perfectly grateful for that. Perfect. Okay, let me go back and let me find out. Did I learn this already? I think I did. Yep, I do know the trophy case. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's head back over to where Coach is, and let's see if I can learn that other item. Okay. So, you're all probably wondering, well, what's the second story about Lake Chabot that you have? This second memory that I have. And I'll tell you the story in a quick moment. Let me just go ahead and get this out of the way and learn this from Coach, and then I'll go ahead and share my second story. Thank you very much. Let me see if I can learn it real quick. Nope, that's not it. Firewood. Learn that. Oh, okay. Sweet. I learned how to craft firewood. You need wood. Anyways, enough of that. Perfect. So, getting back to my little story here. So, my second story that I wanted to share also involved Lake Chabot. And what it is that probably around, I would say somewhere between 1976 to 1978. I think that's when this little event occurred. We were at Lake Chabot, and one of the things that we like to do, besides explore, before we could explore, the way that we'd start our explorations is that we would have to head up to one of the top of the hills located at Lake Chabot. And in order to do that, there is this one hill that we had to climb up, and it had I guess you could say a grade of about, I don't know, 25 to 30%. Needless to say, it was a pretty steep hill that you have to climb up. And this hill went up about, I don't know, maybe about 100 yards, maybe a little more than 100 yards. So we would climb up this hill, and a number of people, there's a path, it's like a game trail that you could climb up. And a number of people would climb up that. So, you know, me and my cousins and my younger brother, we would climb up this hill, make it to the top, and it gives us a really great view of the lake, the entrance to the park, and different things like that. Well, one event, we had climbed up to the top of this hill, and there were these other kids that were up there. And for some strange reason, I don't know why, but for some strange reason, and I don't know what sparked it, these kids started to tease us for some reason, and I couldn't figure out like the reason why. They just started calling us names, and we got offended by it. My cousins and my younger brother and everything, we were offended. They started calling us names, and I think that was kind of like the first time that I had encountered like someone being prejudiced with me, because they had said some racial slurs towards us. And so you know, that was discouraging. It's not like we were encouraged by what we heard. It was very discouraging. And so what happened was, after these kids teased us, they started to walk down the hill. And you know, when you walk down a hill, it's pretty steep, so you have to walk down very slowly, otherwise you'll slip, you could fall, you could lose your footing, and you could end up kind of rolling down this hill because it was pretty steep. So they got about maybe about 25% down the hill. And my male cousin decided that we were going to get them back. So what he did was he said, hey, you know what? Let's do this. And so he explained to us, we're going to pull up these weeds. It's like these long pieces of, you know, dried up plant life where you could grab them at the base. And when you pull them up, you can pull them up by the roots. And so he says, let's pull these things up. You know, make sure you got a good handful of them. So, you know, me, my younger brother, and my female cousin, who at first said, nah, I don't think we should do that because she is the voice of reason. But my male cousin said, nah, man, they were teasing us. They were saying bad things about us. They can't get away with that. And me being, you know, highly influenceable and impressionable, I'm like, yeah, I agreed. So we decided, okay, we're going to get them back. So we pulled up these big old weeds, I guess you could say, by the roots. And so they had like moist soil still stuck on them by the roots. And once we pulled them up, we all had handfuls of them. And he said, okay, we're going to wait a few seconds. And when I yell God of Thunder, we're going to run down the hill and we are going to throw these things at them and we're going to run right past them. So by now, these other kids are about, maybe about halfway down the hill, maybe a little less than halfway. And so we said, okay. So we waited a few seconds and then my cousin screamed, God of Thunder. And so the next thing we knew, all four of us started running down this hill really fast. And this hill is steep and we're running. And as we run past them, you know, each one of us had picked a person that we were going to throw this stuff at. As we ran past them, we threw these weeds that we had pulled out of the ground onto them. And they were like not happy. They were like, ow, stop that. As we ran past them and threw it at them. And then we kept running down the hill. And as we were doing that, after we did that, you know, we were all kind of laughing. But then something happened. We realized that we were running down so fast down the hill because it was so steep that we couldn't stop. And so my cousin was yelling, I can't stop. And I was like, I can't stop. And so my female cousin was like, ah. So we were all screaming because we couldn't stop as we're running down the hill. And so the only way we could try to find a way to stop was you either ran and tried to keep your balance as you're running down this hill and make it to the bottom, or you needed to drop down into the weeds that were growing onto the side. So each one of us had our own way of trying to stop. My cousin, he just booked and ran all the way down the hill and made it to the very bottom. I, on the other hand, knew that I wasn't going to be able to do that, and I knew I was going to fall flat on my face because I was already losing balance because I was running down so fast. And so what I did was I just basically chose an edge and I slid. I just fell behind first and slid and came to a stop. My other cousin, she kind of tried to do a zigzag into the weeds and tried to stop that way. And then my younger brother kind of belly flopped and rolled it down the hill. It was probably one of the most funniest moments because all of us were like laughing and then we were like screaming. We couldn't stop. We don't know if the other kids that we had hit with those weeds, if they were laughing at us or not. But the only thing I do know is that we all kind of cracked up and laughed, and it was kind of humbling because here we are. We went and threw these things at these kids, And then we kind of we ended up humiliating ourselves because we couldn't stop running down the hill, and we ended up falling down. And I think it was kind of funny. I think it was funny that it was a funny sight to see with everybody. But you know, after that, we just kind of got up, brushed ourselves off, and then went about our business and went back to the picnic area and met up with our parents and everything. But I think the reason why, first of all, I think I don't encourage anybody to be doing that, to be throwing stuff at people. That's the first thing. You know, I do think though that what happened was it just really showed how close knit we were. You know, even at that young of an age, we were all very close knit, and we all cared about each other very, very much. And I think that's something that we, it's a bond. It's a special bond that my brother and my two cousins, that we all have with each other. And almost every time we meet for a family gathering, and it's for the four of us, and we don't get to meet together that often anymore. But every time we do, one of the things that we do talk about and that we do reminisce is we reminisce about that time we went to Lake Chabot and we climbed up to the top of the hill, and at the time I called that hill Heart Attack Hill because it was so hard to climb up and it was so steep. But we talk about that time we went up on the hill and we saw those kids that were teasing us, and then we decided we were going to throw those weeds at them as we were running down. And all we have to do every time we reminisce, the only thing that we have to say, or that one of us has to say that will spark the memory, is we say God of Thunder. Do you remember God of Thunder? And we immediately remember, and we immediately reminisce, and it's a good memory. It's a good memory for us. You know, so that's it. Those are my two stories. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get ready to end out this video. As you can see, I was digging up some fossils and different things like that, and getting them assessed. I think one of the things I wanted to show is this, because this also has a memory and this also sparks a story. But that will be maybe in the next video. And that's this right here. First of all, this was inspired by an island that I went and visited. His name is Mike, and actually his house, one of his rooms was decorated, had a big DJ set up, all these lights and instruments and everything, and it looked really cool. I was inspired by it, you know. So what I did was I decided I wanted to do something like that, but I wanted to do it outside, and so I set this up. I was able to get this DJ turntable thing, some instruments with a little bit of help from my friends, and get these cushions together along with these tiki torches and set up a little dance floor. And this right here, this little setup sparks back many memories of mobile DJing with my cousin and mobile DJing with my younger brother, Ice Baby, who used to do mobile DJing. And also, you know, other things like karaoke. But these are all memories that you'll have to listen to in the next video. So that's it for now. And I hope you enjoyed the storytelling, and I hope you enjoyed me just running around trying to pick up things and everything and clean up. And if you have any questions or thoughts or suggestions, definitely leave it in the comments. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you all for watching. Hi viewers, remember to subscribe, like the video, comment, and click on the little bell to receive notifications of future content. Have a good one.